Hi, this is Srikant Devarajan once again in a podcast.
This is the small wall. This is the small wall. The small wall. நான் கெட்டு போன குட்டி சுவரு. இதுதான் இதுதான். Your name's on the pink slip. You are in the small wall. They got no goodbye. You are in the small wall. That stopped working. You are in the small wall. Security walk first. You are in the small wall.
So here's the thing. The job market right now, it's rough. People are let go just like that. It's not because they weren't good enough, but someone made a decision. So now locating a new job is not easy. You will have to rewrite your resume and you have to send it to companies. Sometimes you see on websites, LinkedIn or somewhere where it says 1,000 people applied for a job. It's happening. And worse, you have an interview now. And this is where the real stress begins. What will they ask? Do I sound confident enough? Am I giving the right answer or I'm just rambling? These are the issues that pops up in your mind. And even folks with solid experience, they are struggling to explain what they have done. So, how shall we resolve this problem? Right? This is where agentic AI is going to help you. I use the word bring your own AI, BYOAI. I will now show you a very small application that I wrote with large language models and how to prepare yourself for an interview. Let's take a look at it in the small wall.
Your name's on the pink slip. You are in the small wall. They got no goodbye. You are in the small wall. That stopped working. You are in the small wall. Security walks first. You are in the small wall.
Building an interview IQ. This is a very simple agentic AI app for real world interview prep. So let's go one by one. Slides now quickly. I'll walk you through. So first, we need to understand why this whole interview preparation feels really stressful today. Number one, we already spoke, it's a tough job market, unfair layoffs going on around, people get disrupted overnight. And also, when you apply for a job, this keyword search algorithms will probably remove your resume out if it's not all right, maybe even before humans look at it. And after applying, you have the golden silence. You will not get a reply, maybe a regret after a few weeks. We don't know. And you will not have a closure. When you do an interview, you will not have a closure because you don't hear back. You have no idea what went wrong. Sometimes it feels personal, even though it is not really. It is not somebody else's thing. They are not trying to stop you, but the the ecosystem that we are in makes it look like they don't like this kind of attitude. Then comes when you go for an interview, there is a lot of uncertainty because every company that you apply for, they have different structure, style, and a lot of expectations. So how do you understand them, right? So as an individual trying to apply for a job, we struggle to understand what is that really interview, or we can't come up with a roadmap. Yeah, there are something available online that you can read about, but like even seasoned experts, they struggle to deal this. This is very true. Then we have a lot of tools that will help you to prepare for an interview, but they are very generic. They will give you tips and tricks, but at very surface level. You can do it mock interviews online, but it lacks individuality, or I would call it personalization. Prep tools do not know the company's interview structure or the process. They are very generic. So these are the issues that makes you really stressful to go for an interview. We need to understand how do big tech companies hire. So the big companies have come up with wonderful approaches. You can read about it. Now I have an example here. Uh, Google, for example, they will check your cognitive ability. They will check your leadership attitudes. Then they will ask you about your role-specific skills that is required. Last is not least, googliness is how much you are aligned with their values. So Microsoft have their own structure, similar structure. So you need to first clearly understand them very well before you even start even answering an interview. So when you go for an interview, the question is always, how do I get ready, prepare myself for this, right? Because each of them have their own structure. For example, some might have a coding challenge, some might have a cultural fit, some might look behavioral, some might look cognitive ability, some might deep down into leadership attitudes. They might look for role-related knowledge, technical skills, hands-on skills, right? And you can't rehearse these things if you don't know the script, what they're going to ask. You don't know the script. It is like an actor trying to act without a written script. It's more improvisation at that moment of time. Is there a better way? What if interview preparation was less like a guessing game, more like a strategy? What if you could bring your own intelligent agent to guide you, build the script for you? Not just coaching, a personalized AI agentic system that reads your resume, understands how top companies hire, helps you to prepare with clarity, confidence, and credibility. Introducing Interview IQ, your AI powered cue card assistant built for this moment. So let's enter into this and try to understand this application. So we first start with the structured templates for real companies. We'll go and investigate. What I did was I took big companies, read about their hiring principles and process, and I went and encoded them in a clean, structured JSON format, very well, very well written, representing them the actual interview, the values that they have. You need to do some research on this, which I did, and I have structure now. JSON, we'll talk about it, and then I did a modular LLM integration. The backend architecture logic is a pluggable module where it does resume parsing, template loading, finally cue card generation, so that we can easily swap models. For example, I have used a local LLM, but I have also tried this with OpenAI, but it was expensive. So I wrote an approach where you can change your LLMs integration whenever required or whenever you can afford. With somebody not having a job, I think OpenAI is going to be costly. So Olama has got good things. You can use that on your laptop or whatever. Then I built a resume around personalization. Here, this module will go and read through your resume. It knows the ATS that we all struggle with, parse each resume into structured sections like skill, experience, and projects. These are then mapped intelligently to the company's hiring attributes. Then last comes the Q card generator agent. At the heart of it is a local LLM agent that reads the company templates, reads your resume, generates Q cards, and tells you what to answer and how to reply and how to speak. It's personalized completely at this moment of time. The flow is very simple. We have the templates, we upload our resume, the LLM does the matching and generates the Q card. So, what is that IQ card? It's a smart, personalized interview prep cards generated using your actual resume and targeted companies' hiring principles. Each cue card prepares you technically, analytically, mentally, and emotionally, helping you anticipate, articulate, and adapt with confidence. For example, the cue card will contain the, the, the attribute that they are looking for. For example, leadership. Then what kind of realistic questions they might ask. Then suggested response. It's going to read your resume and tell you you need to talk about these things in your skill set. Then it'll also give you generic tips telling you how to structure your conversation and how to talk to them. This is the technical architecture for somebody who is really interested to do this on their own. I have a React front end, which will upload the resumes. You can select target companies, trigger Q card generation, and view and export the PDF. Very simple. And the backend Flask like API is responsible for parsing your resume into structured sections, and it loads the company templates. It use the LLM with the prompt, with the template and the resume, sends a single straight LLM call to generate cue cards. I am using for LLM Olama and Olama, Dolphin Mixtral is the model that I am using. It is 26 GB. You can look for others also smaller one if you don't have space, or you can use OpenAI. It's fantastic. If you use OpenAI, the results are quite amazing, but it is expensive. I can't afford it now. We can generate cue cards for each attributes and returns you a full list of cue cards. It is comes out as a JSON, and then we structure it on the front end. And I also use SQLite to store all these things so that you can go back and refer it whenever you want. With that, we are going to look into that application here.
If your weekend won't last, you are in the small wall. If the third line's fake, you are in the small wall. Stop.
All right, we now have Visual Studio Code here. My head might turn this side because I'm using another monitor on this side, much bigger one to show you the source code. My apologies. So first, let us look at the structure of the project. The project is very simple. We have a back end and a front end and data that I'm going to use. Let me go into that first. I'll look into the templates that I was talking about. These are the companies that I spoke: Google, Microsoft, Capital One, or even a generic tech company, right? Let's open Google. So this is a very simple JSON that I went and researched. And for example, I picked up their interview styles. For example, Google interviews focus on cognitive ability, leadership role, specific knowledge, cultural alignment. We saw that in the slide, right? So those things are split into subgroups in the JSON. I call it a hiring process where what do they really look for? Attribute, right? So general cognitive ability, focus. The prime focus of these attributes are problem solving, structured thinking, ability to learn quickly. And how are they evaluated? Like they will look for open-ended problem solving, algorithmic coding challenges, and hypothetical scenarios. So this is how this whole thing is run. Similarly, there are other attributes they look for role-related knowledge called as RRK, right? And they'll go deep down into system design for engineers, product sense for product managers or whatever, right? For analysts, they'll give you some case studies. And next comes the leadership attitude, where they will look how you take ownership, blah, 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 whatever. Right. So this is the structure we have in JSON. And I'll show one more with Microsoft. Microsoft emphasizes a balanced evolution of technical skills, collaboration, leadership, growth mindset, etc. So one attribute is technical excellence, where they will focus on data structures and algorithms, for example. How do they evaluate it? Coding, hands-on interviews sometimes, system design discussion if you are at a very senior level as an architect or something like that. They will also look for collaboration and communication, working well with teams. How do you gel into an existing team because you are coming from another ecosystem? So this is the structure that I came up with. Very simple, straightforward JSON. There is a generic one I have, and I have one for Capital One, which is in this area where we live. So these are all real things I went and researched online. So I have them as templates, and we'll close it now. And let's go and first look at the backend. Let us start with our services. So, okay, now let's look into the resume parser engine, which is going to read your resumes very clearly in PDF, and it will it will extract text from PDF and group them accordingly, automatically, and then it will hand it over to an LLM engine. As you can see that I have an old here. I have been writing this on a few occasions. So this is the engine that it it builds a prompt, and the prompt is loaded somewhere here, which I'm going to show you. Um, if I open this, so this is the prompt. So I clearly explained the LLM like you are an AI-powered interview coach, helping a candidate prepare for an interview at whatever, Microsoft, Google, whatever the companies. Then we give the resume text that we extracted out, and then we give the interview style of the company, which is there in our JSON. And below are the hiring principles, the That is the attribute that they will check on. And then I give some things for LLM to do. And I'm saying it very clearly, show only things when there is a relevant information on your experience skill. Don't hallucinate. I'm making very clear that do not invent companies, projects, experiences. No explanation text outside the JSON output. I'm making sure that it shouldn't hallucinate. At times there is hallucination. You need to deal that, but at least by this writing the prompt clearly, you can avoid that to an extent. So this is the engine, the parser, and we have our front end, which is a simple React application where we have all the source files, which I'll quickly walk through. Layout files, right? This is the app layout, the structure of the app, and then we have multiple pages here where we have an option to see all the templates that you have. I call it as available companies. I have 6 templates out there. And then there's a landing web page where the thing it lands with an UI, and you can view your existing cue cards. You can generate a new your cue card with a generator and other things
If
here.
your weekend won't last,
So let's
work in
look
the
into the
small
application.
ball.
We are going to start
If the
our
deadline's
Olama service, which is LLM that I'm running automatically. Before that, I want to show you one small thing that I did. Quickly, we go back into the source code and let's look at our LLM engine, right? And you can change the LLM engine whenever you want to change. Um, like you can do it very easily, though I have hard coded it here, right? I do have methods where you can go and change it here. So you can, if you want to add, let's say OpenAI, right? Sorry, no keyboard, my apologies. Um, I can just add and provider equal to OpenAI and give it a related like APIs, how to reach them, the endpoints. We can do that, but I didn't implement it in this version, but I do have a version where I implemented it. So let me close it. Let's go back to our demo. There it is. Olama services is running. So I'm going to start my backend Flask application. I have an environment that I just started, and let me start it. Python 3 app.py, the typical Flask interface. Sorry, Flask interface. Then I'm going to start my React app npm start, and wherever is my browser, it's going to come somewhere. As you can see, there you go. You have the application here, and your cue cards. I generated so many cue cards. I can view my cue card. I'll come to that. This is create a new card and available companies. So these are the available companies I have, and these are the JSON that you saw there. So I know. Um, Let me move it slightly here and show you Google. There's Google here. And let's go into my cue cards. First, let's create a cue card, and I'm going to call it Google Interview Prep 1, something like that. Have a drop down where you can choose the company, and I'm going to browse a resume and add it there. So this is the resume I have here. My resume. I'm going to upload here, and I'm going to say save and create cue cards. It's a very simple, straightforward application, but it's a very smart application. So as you can see, it is generating cue cards. Hopefully, it doesn't embarrass me by what it's doing really here. So the LLM is building it now. As you can see, it's trying to calculate something here. And let's give it few minutes, maybe 1 minute, given the load. There you go. The cue cards are here, as you can see. Let me slightly move my browser towards this side so that you can see the full cue card here. Yeah, this is good. So as you can see, Google Interview Prep 1 is what you entered for you to keep track of. Cue card generators for an interview at Google based on your resume and their hiring principles. And first, how do you approach problem solving? It gives you from the resume that I uploaded. Utilize strategic growth and innovation strategy, including capture properties. My resume, so it is talking about myself. I think maybe I can open the resume and show you, but later. Delivered large-scale technical solutions, incorporated system architecture, successful delivery recovery, and use examples that demonstrate, gives you tips. How do you design large-scale system for AM and role knowledge, collaboration, augmented AI, RAG, open AI? We just spoke about it. So it gives you a very clear structure of what you did, and it can take out of your things. And for example, how do you demonstrate humility in professional setting? A very interesting question. I used my music skill. I collaborated with a lot of teams, especially in music. It's very tough to deal because everybody is talented, and we have to work very closely with one another without hurting each other. Fantastic ideas will come up, right? Sometimes we use leverage generative like AI to do music, for example. These days we are bringing a vocalist. So I work with teams, making sure that the singers are all right. Example. So we need to share specific example how you demonstrated humility in your work. This could include. So this is a very simple cue card. Let me go back to some of my old cue cards that I did here. So let me take this. This is much more detailed. For example, tell me about the time you face challenges, problem, how you approach solving it, develop strategic growth, innovation plan, conducted large-scale technical solutioning, implemented program reviews, recovery for complaints, delivery, FISMA, FedRAM, blah, blah, whatever I did long time ago. Demonstrate your ability to break down. So this is the most important tip that you will get from the LLM, is looking into a lot of things and telling you, demonstrate your ability to break down complex problem into manageable parts, think critically about solutions and implement plan of action. So it's a very simple cue card, and there are many cue cards that I did. Capital one is more about problem solving. So it clearly says, as can you describe your work breakdown as problem structured manager? So this I made an XYZ corporation in the resume. So it is kind of picking that up automatically. As a program lead, I often encounter it gives you very clearly the structure. It also tells you avoid diving into technical jargon right away. These are the tips that it's giving you. Behavioral leadership. Tell us what time you have driven results through influence and not authority. This question is there always. And you can give an example. It gives you an example of how to answer this. Similarly, how do you typically approach working across team to achieve a common goal? In XYZ Corporation, as part of cross-functional team responsible for developing new products, we ensure successful prioritize regular communication with other team members, etc., etc. That came from my resume. So as you can see, this application is a pretty easy application. The interesting thing is how do you structure this application? How do you make it more agentic AI? Going back to the project, one quick round of things is that um, we'll go and look at the structures that I did. Let me close data. Here we are. Let's look at this quickly. One more round of templates. Um, take capital one for now. So this is what capital one. It's more behavioral assessment, analytical thinking, problem solving, behavioral and leadership, communication, collaboration, customer. So here we are. This is the template. Make the template here. Very easy template, but spend little few hours analyzing it and create this JSON. And then you can use LLM to generate your question and answers. So to close the podcast, it's a hard time to be out there looking for work. The job market feels unstable, and interviews, they are stressful, confusing, and even discouraging. That's the reason why I started working on the tool, not to solve everything, but to give everyone a little control over our interviews, something that helps us feel more ready, more steady, more like yourself. This idea isn't just about one app. It's part of a bigger shift that's going to happen. A shift where you don't wait for help. You bring it with you. Bring your own AI, BYOAI. Just like we once bought our own devices to work, now we are starting to bring our own intelligence tools. Personal tools, smart tools, tools that work for you, not the other way around. In the world ahead, this might be how we survive the chaos and even shape what comes next. So if you are feeling stuck, remember this. You don't have to do it alone. You just have to start. This is the small
Oh,
wall.
oh,
Thanks for
oh,
listening.
oh, this is small wall. This is the small wall. This is the small wall. The small wall. Now get the front of cookie chewer. Either done, either done. Your name's on the pink slip. You are in the small wall. They cut no goodbye. You are in the small wall. Badge stopped working. You are in the small wall. Security walks first. You are in the small wall. Get the front of cookie chewer. Either done, either done, either done.